Hello, good morning, everyone. Today's last lecture, we will discuss about spatial construction. Last topic, spatial construction. Okay. स्पेशल कन्स्ट्रक्शन मध्ये आपलं 6वं टॉपिक मध्ये काय होतं तर ड्रिगिंग इक्विपमेंट, त्यामध्ये डायफ्रागम वॉल, ट्रेंचेस आणि क्लॅम्पशेल. जे 6 टॉपिक मध्ये मेकॅनिकल वर्सेस मॅन्युअल मध्ये आपण बघितलो अर्थ एक्सकेटिंग वर्क, त्यामध्ये अर्थ मुव्हिंग वर्क, त्यामध्येच हे पॉइंट परत तेच येतोय, क्लॅम्पशेल, ट्रेंचेस, फ्लोटिंग अँड डायफ्रागम वॉल. ओके. फर्स्ट डेफिनेशन, Drigging equipment. What is process of drigging equipment? Drigging is an excavation activity or operation usually carried out at least partly underwater in shallow seas or freshwater areas with the purpose of gathering up bottom sediment and disposing of them at different locations. Means drigging is the act of removing silt and other material from the bottom of the bodies of water. It is a routine necessary in waterway, means around the world, because sediment and the natural process of sand and silt washing downstream means gradually fills channels and histograms. Digging is the main definition as search for clear out the something by digging. For example, digging is look in river for lost car at the bottom, and example of digging is the sand up from lake to make channel for boats. ओके. डिगिंग त्याचे काय इफेक्ट्स होतात म्हणजे हॅबिट हायड्रॉलिक एंटरमेंट असतील किंवा कंटानमेंट सेडिमेंट असतील, सस्पेंड सेडिमेंट असतील किंवा अंडर वॉटर मध्ये नॉईज वगैरे. मेन इफेक्ट्स काय आहेत ड्रिगिंगचे आपण पाहूयात. Drigging, driggers is a piece of equipment which can dig, transport and dump a certain amount of underwater laying soil in certain time, means quality of soil moves per unit of time called as production. Okay. Drigging used as a process is used remove the dispose percolated under for the purpose of clearing and water pathway for ships to pass. म्हणजेच काय, to create space to construct important bridge, dam or weed for silt and pollutant from the bottom of the water. Okay. 4 phase are excavation, lifting, transportation and dispose. वेट, हे तुम्हाला पिक दिसतंय ड्रिगिंगचा. वेट, हा आपलं ड्रिगिंग डिस्पोज करतोय आपण. ओके. म्हणजे बॉटम फ्लोटिंग असेल की ऑल द सिच्युएशन द ऑपरेशन इन अंडरटेकन बाय स्पेशल फ्लोटिंग प्लांट अँड नोन एज ड्रिगिंग म्हणतात. ओके. Why drigging? First, capital workers, means certain of new facilities such as harbor, bases, deeper navigation channel, etc. Okay, navigation, infrastructure, coastal engineering, mining industry, offshore industry. Okay, main maintenance work means maintain design depth of navigation channel and ports. Next, types of drigging: mechanical drigging and hydraulic drigging. Means drigging may be used to provide food with coating of floors, and drigging is large shakers. Then continue hydraulic and mechanically. Wait, full screen दिसत नाही. Continuously hydraulically transport via pipeline and mechanically transport via conveyor belt. Then discontinuously the hydraulic is not, and mechanical is a transport via grab, sheaf and truck. तर दिसतंय तुम्हाला पिक मध्ये डिफरंट टाइप्स ऑफ ड्रिगिंग, मेकॅनिकल ड्रिगिंग. ओके, ह्याचे मी तुम्हाला व्हिडिओ पण दाखवेन म्हणजे लक्षात येईल. नंतर मेकॅनिकल ड्रिगिंग मध्ये मटेरियल बिंग स्टोर्ड अँड बार्ज, अँड मेकॅनिकल ड्रिगिंग इज मटेरियल बिंग डिस्पोज. कसं करतोय पण एक व्हिडिओ बघूया म्हणजे तुम्हाला समजेल.
The trailing suction hopper dredges of Boscalis are ocean-going vessels that can collect sand and silt from the seabed and transport it over large distances. Boscalis deploys trailing suction hopper dredges for the construction and maintenance of ports and waterways, as well as land reclamation and coastal defense and riverbank protection. Trailing suction hopper dredges are equipped with 1 or 2 suction pipes ending in drag heads. When a vessel reaches the dredging location, it reduces speed and lowers the suction pipes to the seabed. The drag head moves slowly over the bed, collecting the sand like a giant vacuum cleaner. A mixture of sand and water is pumped into the hopper of the dredging vessel. Dredging stops when the maximum hopper capacity is reached. The vessel can discharge its load in various ways, depending on the project specifications. The vessel can discharge its load by rainbowing. Rainbowing is used when the vessel can get close to the discharge location and the previously reclaimed sand body is above or almost above the surface. The sand is sprayed through a nozzle in the bow, rainbowing in an arch through the air. Another discharge method consists of pumping the sand ashore by floating or sunken pipelines. This approach is used, for example, in land reclamation or coastal protection projects.
ड्रिगिंगचा प्रोसेस कसं आहे ते पहा.
The sand is pumped through floating pipelines into the reclamation area. The sand can also be deposited through doors located in the bottom of the vessel. Accuracy is achieved by maneuvering the vessel precisely above the designated location. Boscalis has a large fleet of state-of-the-art trailing suction hopper dredges operating on projects all over the world.
हे बघा टाइप्स ऑफ ड्रिगिंग. Mechanical rigger classification: garb digger, dipper digger, bucket, backhoe digger, rock breaker digger. हायड्रोलिक मध्ये मगाशी आपण पाहिलं, त्यामध्ये कुठले आहेत बघा. plane suction digger, suction reader, cutter, wheel reader.
Including the device in which you are sustainable and cost-effective method of transport of products and materials around the world. Most of the products we use every day come to us via boat, including the device in which you are watching this video. Australia alone has more than 70 ports, which support trade with every region of the world. Gladstone Ports Corporation, also known as GPC, manage and operate 3 of these ports: the Port of Bundaberg, Port of Gladstone and Port of Rockhampton. As trade demands increase and technology develops, so do the size and number of vessels using our channels. To continue to be able to facilitate trade in our ports, we need to ensure our channels can safely accommodate the vessels using it. To ensure our channels are meeting these needs, GPC undertake maintenance and capital dredging. Dredging is defined as the digging, excavating, removal of sediment or relocation of siltation from our waterways to restore and make safe current or create new channels in the port. Sedimentation happens primarily through natural processes, such as when material runs out of rivers into the marine environment, as well as through tidal and wind-driven wave resuspension. If we consider the roads we drive on to shipping channels, maintenance dredging is equivalent to repairing the road for safe traffic movement. Capital dredging is equivalent to creating road expansions or overtaking lanes. Dredging activity is regulated by Commonwealth and state governments. Maintenance dredging is usually performed annually and or following a natural weather event, which may have caused siltation, while capital dredging is triggered by demand to expand existing or create new channels. Dredging can be carried out a number of ways. However, the most conventional dredging equipment include the trailing suction hopper dredger and cutter suction dredger. Like a vacuum, the trailing suction hopper dredger is self-contained, taking the material from the seabed into the hopper and transferred to the placement site. This dredger is typically used for maintenance dredging. The cutter suction dredger, however, is a bagless vacuum which pumps the material directly from the dredging site into the placement area via pipelines. Placement areas vary depending on the dredging type. Capital dredging is placed on land, while maintenance dredging can be placed at sea. In addition to enabling the safe passage of vessels and the facilitation of trade, which enhances the economy, dredging has allowed GPC to undertake land reclamation, providing the community of Gladstone with Spinnaker Park, the marina and east shores, as well as future potential port development land. For more information on dredging, visit www.gpcl.
ओके, आता आपण टाइप्स ऑफ बघितलो हायड्रॉलिक मेकॅनिकल ड्रिगिंगचे. Mechanical rigging. In mechanical rigging, materials conveyed by mechanical contrivers means bucket laddering digging, garb digging, dipper bucket hood rigger. ओके, बकेट लेडर डिगर हे पण आपल्याला एक राहिलंय. बकेट लॅडर डिगरचा एक व्हिडिओ बघूया आपण, म्हणजे ऍक्च्युअली वर्क प्रोसेस काय ते कळेल तुम्हाला. ओके, ड्रिगिंग मेन पार्ट ड्रिगिंगचा राहिलाय आपला. हा Drigging is the excavation of material from water environment. Hence, possible reason for drigging, including improving existing water features, means reshaping land and water features to alt trigger, means navigability and commercial uses, means construction, dikes, like other control for stream and shorelines, means recovering valuable minerals deposit or marine life, means having commercial value. ओके. म्हणजेच काय तर एक्सकव्हेशन अंडर बाय स्पेशल फ्लोटिंग प्लांट असेल, आपण खालचा गाळा जो असेल त्याला आपण ट्रिगर म्हणतो. जो आत्ताच्या व्हिडिओमध्ये बघितलाय, खालचा जो लेवल सरफेस डिगिंग कॅरीड आउट इन मेनी डिफरंट लोकेशन फॉर मेनी डिफरंट पर्पजेस, बट द मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह are usually to recover material of value or use or create a great depth of water. Means trigger have been classified function mechanism, means digging has significant environmental impacts, means can be disturb marine sediment leading to both short means long term water pollution and destroy importance, means seabed ecosystem, and can release human source toxin capture in sediment. Okay. आपल्याला आत्ताचा जो आहे त्याचा एक व्हिडिओ पाहूया आपण, बकेट लॅडर ड्रॅगिंगचा. ओके, आत्ताचाच होता तो. हे पण आहे लॅडर ड्रॅगिंगचा, हे पाहूया आपण. ऍक्च्युअल प्रोसेस काय ते आपण बघून घेऊया. ड्रॅगिंग कसं करतो इक्विपमेंट, स्पेशल कन्स्ट्रक्शन मध्ये जे आपण पाहिलं तेच आहे. Okay. Bucket ladder dragging has a series of bucket mounted on endless loop. तुम्हाला दिसलं इथे. That scope metal from waterbed and deposit it throughout the tube on branch. Okay. Means suction they get used by gold purpose today, means bucket trade gold processing machine and move literally material to short amount of time. Okay. Then were used extensively throughout the world during the earlier gold rush and around the world. त्याचं काय प्रोसेस आहे ते आपण बघूया. पाहिला अजून एक व्हिडिओ पाहूया आपण. काय करतात ते बकेट लॅडर ड्रॅगिंग causing the bucket to travel downward in such way the scoop and the material from bottom and they carry the material in upright bucket up the ladder to the top. Inside the top bucket rotate into upside down position there content falls into tube. So dragging helps in making the water navigable and makes fishing easier even the shallow cracks. Means it helps in removing contaminants from waterway and recreating a damaged area by the reclaim work. Okay. त्यांचा प्रोसेस तो चालूच असतो. ड्रॅगिंग लॅडर floating device for underwater excavation means a ladder digging employs a continuous chain of bucket rotating around a rigid adjustable frame called as ladder. Okay. आणि काय म्हणतो लॅडर बकेट digging म्हणतोय. तेच आहे कारण कन्स्ट्रक्शन प्रॅक्टिस असा सब्जेक्ट आहे. 5वा टॉपिक कन्स्ट्रक्शन मेकॅनिकल वर्सेस मॅन्युअल इक्विपमेंट त्यामध्ये बुलडोझर क्रेन ट्रॅक्टर क्लॅमशेल ट्रेन परत हा 8वा टॉपिक फक्त टॉपिकचं नाव स्पेसिफिक कन्स्ट्रक्शन आहे त्यामध्ये परत येत आहे डिगिंग इक्विपमेंट फ्लोटिंग इक्विपमेंट डायफर्गम वॉल क्लॅमशेल आणि ट्रेंचेस परत इक्विपमेंट अर्थ मुव्हिंग इक्विपमेंटचेच आहेत. जितका व्हिडिओ बघाल एकदम क्लिअर होतो कन्सेप्ट. असा सब्जेक्ट आहे की हा थिअरीमध्ये नाही समजणार तो प्रॅक्टिकलचा सब्जेक्ट आहे. तुम्ही थिअरी वाचून हे करताल पण ऍक्च्युअल वर्क कसं प्रोसेस आहे ते आपल्याला बघायचंय. एकच बघूया ड्रिगिंगचं आणि नेक्स्ट पुढचं बघूया. रिव्हर ड्रिगिंग नाहीये. लोअर कटिंग हेच बघूया. ड्रिंगचं पण आहे सगळ्या टाईपचे काही ड्रिंगचे त्यामध्ये टाईप आहेत ड्रिगिंगचे.
इसका काम ये है सब में हम कितने सर
Lower trimming means act of trimming steel and other material from the bottom of body of water.
What's up? एडी किसी
Main features of bucket trigger. First is the side chute, means top is the top tumbles, means ladder pivot. This is the ladder pivot. Then head wire, the head wire and side wires. This is the under water fair lead, means ladder and bucket. This is the top to the bottom is the attached for the bucket chain, and ladder host and wires bottom tumbles. Main features of the steps involved in dragging process mean the bucket features, uh, excavation and losing for dislodging for material from the bottom. This removal of loosened material to the dig vessel means transportation of material to the placement area and place of the material. How does bucket digger work? The loop of the bucket ladder digger is powered, causing the bucket to travel and downs in such a way as to scoop the material from the bottom, then carry the material in the upright bucket up the ladder to the top. Means at the top bucket rotate into the upside and up and down position, and their contents falls into tube. Okay. This is the main bucket ladder trigger. Then next is the process of आता आपण बघितलो bucket ladder व्हिडिओ प्रोसेस कसं होतं तर आपण पाहिलो. Then next working method. ह्याच वर्किंग मेथड बकेट लॅडर ट्रिगरचं वर्किंग मेथड काय होतं आपण बघूया. ओके, वर्किंग मेथड बकेट लॅडर ट्रिगर. This is the bucket ladder digger working method. The bucket ladder digger is a position on 6 wire. Okay. Under working condition, the trigger swing around the bow anchor. In the bow anchor lines or headline can have length longer than 1000 meter. In order to avoid dragging of wire over the soil, which results in a smaller radius, the wire is supported by a headline pontoon. Means as a result of long headline, the cut width can be large as well as 200 meter or more. Then bucket ladder. This is a bucket ladder digger. Is the sideline winches take care of swing of the digging as well as the power necessity of cutting process. Means the swing speed depend on the soil condition and their thickness. Main bucket dragging leader is the mining digging means the bucket ladder or bucket line dragging has been the traditional placer mining tool means and is still the most flexible method for digging under varying condition means it consists of single bull supporting and excavating and lifting mechanism means beneficial circulate and waste dispose system. Okay. Main type bucket ladder digging is the digging capacity of size of bucket digging is usually capacity of bucket and we range 100 to 100 to 900 liters means main bucket liter is which is the range 100 to 900 liters for the bucket ladder digging are available means dragging almost any material up to the point where blasting has required and fitted with reaper teeth and may even directly able to dig with rock. Okay. मेन आपण एक व्हिडिओ पाहूया बकेट लेवलचा. वर्क प्रोसेस बघूया.
Every company will be a tech company in the future, and data will be the fuel that powers this revolution. Are you ready to become a data proficient employee? Introducing the postgraduate program in data science and business analytics from Great Learning, the University of Texas at Austin, and Great Lakes. Learn in-demand skills by working on projects. Master widely used tools and languages. Get mentorship from experts for industry insights. And get support to achieve career success. With 500 plus hiring partners, 8,000 plus career transitions, and a 48% average salary hike, prepare yourself for the data-driven future. Power ahead in your career with Great Learning. Apply now.
"99% of businesses fail to grow their revenues and profits for two reasons. One, they don't have systems and processes in place. Two, they have system and processes, but they're not efficient and scalable. See, there are 100 ways to create business processes and systems, but doing it the right way is far more important. Having the wrong business processes or wrong business systems which are not efficient, business owners lose on time and money which they could have easily saved with the right set of knowledge. The best way to set up the systems and processes in your business, a way which will save you time and money, is to get help from someone who has already done it before and done it over and over again. Hi, my name is Amit Parekh and I help business owners like you to learn advanced skills which you can use to grow and scale your business practically, well, every single month. Now, I have helped over 37,000 business owners like you in the last 5 years to grow their businesses over 7, 10, 20, 30, 100%. And I was awarded by Times of India as India's leading business success coach in 2019. Now, if you want your business to be efficient with right systems, right processes, so it can scale in terms of people, revenue, and profit. People, revenue, and profit. Join me in this 3 hours Business Freedom Challenge where I will teach you my proven framework of growing a business profitably. In this workshop, you will learn what are the fundamentals of business growth and to scale it up fast. What are the excellence framework that differentiates multi-million dollar businesses compared to the unsuccessful ones, and the ignored focus areas which will help you attain true financial freedom. You learn all this for rupees 99. And that's not all. You will get access to my weekly live training. You will also get my ebooks, Steps to Growth and Mastery, a 30 minutes Q&A session to clear your doubts, and all of these bonuses which are worth more than 20,000. You will get all of it for free if you book today. Now, these bonuses have been given, of course, for a limited period of time. So if you are ready to grow your business, then click up on the side.
फ्लोटिंग प्रोसेस आपण पाहिलं, ड्रिगिंग इक्विपमेंट पण झालं आपल्याला. जे ऍक्च्युअली इक्विपमेंट ड्रिगिंग कसं करतोय आपण ते पाहिलेलं आहे. फ्लोटिंग फ्लॉवर पॉइंट अजून एक बघूया आपण. जस्ट हेच होतं का आताच? ओके, इन्स्टॉलेशन. इझी आहे, तुम्ही फक्त व्हिडिओज वगैरे पहा, वर्क प्रोसेस कसं होते ते पहा. Okay. Then next specification for flow digging. Digging is the size of these vessels is about 60 meter in length and 50 meter in width, having a draft of about 2.5 to 3 meter. The capacity of bucket is about 1 cubic meter, means digging depth commonly extended to 1 cubic meter. The output is the range of 250 meter cubic meter in hour. Okay. Then crab digging. Crab digging is the main feature working method for monitoring and revolving crane. This is the revolving crane. Then down for mooring winches, means gar bucket. This is the main gar bucket clamshells म्हणतात. म्हणजे gar clamshells म्हणजे तुमचा आता तो sorry. Working for garb digging means the digging can be moored by anchor, means anchor or by pole sports, means the capacity of garb digging is expressed in the volume of the garb, means garb size varies between less than 1 meter cube up to the 200 meter cube, means the main opening of garb is controlled by the closing and hosting wire or by hydraulic cylinder. For main garb diggers, the method of anchoring the position system plays an important role for the effectiveness of digging. This is the main main features of pontoon mounted garb digger. At every pontoon position can area as wide as suitable with diggers, means the position is important to location and bit of garb. This is the main part of the garb diggers. Main specification for garb diggers, the hole is generally 30 meter to the 60 meter long and 50 meter across the boom. Is beginning 50 meter long, means the capacity of garb diggers is the expressed in the volume of garb, means the main part for garb size varies between less than 1 meter cube to up to 200 meter cube. The opening of garb is controlled by the closing and hosting wire by hydraulic cylinder. Then main garb floating construction animation is there. GARB, GRB, garb digging, DRE, garb digging. Okay, this is main for garb digging process. A guard digger or clumsy digger lowers, closes, and rises a single bucket by means of flexible cable. Means, in operation, the bucket is grab diggerचा process आहे. बघा, round bucket ला तुम्हाला process आहे. How grab digger works. Dipper or back. Main dipper black hole trigger is dipper is dagger is a powered bucket mounted on barrage which goes material with forward motion like shovel towards the trigger. Okay. Main type of drilling, main hydraulic drilling, their main types of trigger, mechanical trigger, hydraulic trigger, and airlifted trigger. Okay, hydraulic trigger and hopper trigger is the cut section of mechanical trigger. Okay. What is dipper or backhoe digger? This is the main pick of the dipper black hole digger. Okay. This is a similar to land operation cover shovel. It's mounted on barrage, means it carries a lever, outer end of which a steel bucket is attached, and the lever can rotate both about the vertical and horizontal axis. The bottom of bucket can open by the operating wire rope from the barrage. This is the main part for the equipment for the dipper back and the luggage. Then bucket scoops out the material and after spilling the contents of bucket are dropped to the barrage by opening bottom plate of the bucket. Main specification for the dipper black hole diggers means this type of digger can dig in depth up to 15 meter of water. The dipper capacity wires from 1 to 4 cubic meter and heavy capacity of about 12 meter cube are used in Panama Canal. Means hydraulic digger, main hydraulic diggers use hydraulic pump to produce slurry of trigger material, means proof or plain suction trigger, means cutter suction trigger, means trailing suction hopper trigger. Okay, means profile of plain suction trigger means hydraulic trigger, means plain suction trigger. Plain suction trigger is the process. Trigger are equipment with the centrifugal pump for rising mixture of soil water to deliver the material into the transport system. Means there is plain suction pipe and suction head over to material to be excavated. Means this type of trigger are well suited for free running granite material. Working method for hydraulic trigger means plain suction trigger is operation by sucking through the long tube, means like some vacuum clearance but large scale. A plain suction trigger has not tool at the end of force suction, means pipe to disturb the material. Means this is often mostly used for digging. Then next slide specification. The drilling depth is about 15 meter, means bucket capacity about 6 cubic meter. Then it is used for soft material. smaller capacity of bucket of about 4 cubic meter than it used for digging hard material. Next, second type, cutter function digger. Okay. Working काय cutter function digger, CDS, CSD, cutter function digger, CSD. Tubes has cutting mechanism at the junction inlet, means the cutting mechanism loosen the bed material and transport it on the junction mouth. Main for the cutter junction rig is the digging material usually sucked up to by wear resist centrifugal pump and the discharge either through pipeline or a barrage. The cutter suction rigger are most often used in geological areas, means consist of hard surface material, for example, gravel deposit or surface bedrock, whereas standard sanction rig line would be ineffective. Mean in recent year, rigging with more powerful cutters have been built in order to excavate harder rock without the need of blasting. Okay, main cutter sanction trigger and plane sanction trigger. Okay, video पाहूयात आपण cutter sanction trigger. First plane PLAI. If you okay, cutter sanction trigger वर काय करतो बघा.
Dredging, an age-old process that to this day is of great economic and infrastructural importance around the world.
Cutting
There are
the
different
bed
methods of dredging, such as plane suction, trailing suction, and cutter suction.
plane
Daman's CSD range of dredgers use the cutter suction method. But how does it work? Let's take a look. Of course, the most important work happens underwater, controlled by the operator from inside the control cabin. He starts by lowering the ladder. Now the cutter head can do its work, loosening soil from the bottom. A dredge pump sucks the loosened material through the suction pipe and discharges it. Pretty simple, right? But how does the dredger move around to dredge an entire terrain? The CSD is designed to tackle this efficiently and very effectively. The dredger is anchored on port and starboard, but contrary to normal anchors, these are not meant to keep the vessel still, but to move it from side to side. By controlling the side wire winches, the dredger swings from side to side, dredging the bottom without missing a spot. The operator lowers a spud pole to create a center point of rotation for the dredger. After completing a cut,
then next plane sanction trigger.
Royal IHC. The technique.
कटर झालं, आता प्लेन पाहूया आपण. प्लेन rigging. Okay. Last impact of drilling. Drilling can create distribution to adequate ecosystem. Means this activity have the potential to change the environment. Means depending upon the nature of drilling material, its distribution from seabed may lead to changes in chemical position of the water, means as well as toxinate nutrients elements and particularly nitrogen and philosophers which control the rate of marine. Okay, growth can also release from the rigging line. Okay, then next floating. Floating equipment. Okay, means floating power station. What is meant by floating? फ्लोटिंग इक्विपमेंट म्हणजे काय? फ्लोटिंग पॉवर स्टेशन, देन इंट्रोडक्शन, हिस्ट्री, design, construction working, recent development, advantages, disadvantages. Okay, then what is floating power plant can supply electricity to district or to specific facility that temporarily uses electricity. Means it can minimize limitations causes by environmental regulation. Means it can be used as emergency electronic power source. Okay. Main floating equipment is generally used in the lower section of the well to help means reduce strain on the derricks while guideline casting past leading and flowing zones in the hole means provide a landing point for bottom and top cementing plus means pumped ahead of behind the slurry part of cementing operations means provide back pressure walls to prevent cement from flowing back into the inner diameter of the casting. Means after cement has turned the corner into annuals means to top lug has been pumped and basic floating equipment including the float collars means either the guide show or float show means the guide show runs on the first joint of casing means run into the hole to the help maneuver the casing past annual regulars means the guide show includes side ports and open end to the endable fluid means circulation for mud condition hole means cleaning and cement placement. Float the show contains back pressure walls that prevent floats from entering the casing while the pipe is lowered into the hole prevent cement means from flowing back into the casing after placement while enabling circulation down into through the casing. Okay, main introduction of floating power plantation. In history for floating power plant in 1940 by the U.S. Army Corporation of Engineers, 30 MW power generation facility put into service in philosophy in steel operation in a Executor means in 2000, which is the largest FPP in the world was installed in Mangalore on the west coast of India. Means design consideration is designed in a such a way that operation only like ship only required full for the generating machinery. Then fuel is the fuel are limited in several countries. One has to use with available fuels with respect of the cost. Means fuel used in power station, inland or sea is the mainly depends on the availability and cost. This is power bridge design. Then bridge operation means operation can carry out the same as land based on facilities. Okay. Then step for transferring motor controlling switches and also install on the arc. Then transportation then वर्किंग ऑफ फ्लोटिंग पॉवर स्टेशन आपण युट्यूबवर व्हिडिओ पाहूयात जे रोटेट कसं होतंय. फर्स्ट पॉइंटला तुम्हाला सांगितलं फ्लोटिंग म्हणजे काय आणि ड्रिगिंग इक्विपमेंट. फ्लोटिंग ऍडव्हान्टेजेस independent from soil quality, fast supply of electricity to areas with limited infrastructure, and provide additional safety in earthquake and flooding areas, with short delivery time where land space is limited, large site area not needed. Disadvantages of floating means infrastructure is costly when working offshore, and access to installation is critical when working offshore. Okay, means main conclusion of floating, and there are various positive environment impact from construction of FPP means observe vital energy from nature there by reducing use of which harmful structures. In the float collars include back pressure walls basically in the same function of float shell. Okay, आपण एक व्हिडिओ पाहूयात फ्लोटिंगचा. Floating equipment, FLOAT equipment. Construction.
आज मैं अपनी फिल्मों में कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ. I can.
Main power system for the floating power plant station. Okay. Floating construction method का सब बताओ. Means float equipment means the form float shoes and float collars are simple in design and operation. They have been engineered and manufactured to withstand the high temperature and pressure means created by different in float columns when floating land and cementing strength of casting. Construction launching method operation is fixed. Okay, main part for floating. Next point, last point for diaphragm wall. Diaphragm, what is method for what is diaphragm wall methods, purposes, construction method. Okay. डायफ्रागम से पहले अपन व्हॉट इज डायफ्रागम. डायफ्रागम म्हणजे काय सांगा, म्हणजे डायफ्रागमचे कन्स्ट्रक्शन काय. ओके, व्हॉट इज डायफ्रागम. कोणी सांगू शकता. What are the equipments used in diaphragm construction? What is used for diaphragm? Okay. What are the equipment used in diaphragm walls constructed? Diaphragm wall is continuous wall constructed in ground into the facilitate certain construction activity, means such as retaining wall has cut off provision to support deep excavation, means as final wall for basement or other underground structure, that is tunnel. Then separate structures between major underground facilities, means as a form of foundation, retaining pile. Okay. Main equipment used in diaphragm walls excavation, and then pile foundation, reinforcement, concrete, lateral movement, soil movement. Okay. What is the main part for the uses for diaphragm wall? Means diaphragm walls is continuous reinforcement concrete wall, means constructed in ground to support major construction activity like construction of dam, tunnel, and approach deep basement and enclosures. Okay. Main diaphragm wall is the main part for the equipment, construction equipment. Okay, so diaphragm is the main construction ground in facilitated. Okay, एक मिनट. Diaphragm wall is a structural concrete wall, means constructed in deep trenches excavation. Means diaphragm wall is a structural concrete wall constructed in deep trenches excavation, means either cast in situ or using precast concrete components. Means excavation is typically carried out using rope suspended mechanical or hydraulic operated garbage. Okay. Means diaphragm walls is one of the most commonly used methods to solve construction of deep foundation, pit, and large tunnel working shafts. Diaphragm wall is a reinforcement concrete structure constructed in a panel by panel. Means the wall is usually designed to reach very great depth, sometimes up to 50 meter. In typical sequence of work means construct the guideline, excavation to form the diaphragm wall trench, means support the trench cutting using Waynard survey, and insert reinforce and placing of concrete to form the wall panel. Means the use of diaphragm wall structure is the one of the most commonly used method to construct the deep foundation and pit last tunnel working shaft. It can be used as retaining structure for working shafts as well as the one part of permanent structure of working well. Okay, means diaphragm wall is deep reinforcement concrete, continuously retaining or cut off structure often used to permanent work on a project. They are particularly suitable for large open sites where structures greater than 25-meter deep are required, and they can be constructed into most ground conditions. Further explanation on the work sequence means the guideline. Guideline is two parallel concrete beam construct along the side of wall as a guide to the lamp shell, which is used for excavation of diaphragm wall ridges. Means diaphragm wall is continuous wall construction ground in facilitated certain construction activities such as retaining cut off, erosion support deep, and final wall for basement or other ground structure. Okay. Guideline wall and trench excavation means in normal soil condition, excavation is done using clamshell or grab suspended black clamps to crane. Means the grab can easily cut through or through soft ground. In case of in certain builders, to gravity hammer will be used to break the rock and take the spoil out using garb. Excavation support, the side inside the trenches cut can collapse easily. Denoted slurry is used to protect the slides of soil. Means Bontan is basically selected fine clay when added to water forms and improves clay like clear with very nice viscosity. Means slurry produce a great lateral pressure sufficient enough to retain the vertical side. Means reinforcement is inserted in the form of steel cage. Means concreting is placing of concrete is done using pipes to avoid the segregation of concrete. Means concrete being poured down bonnet will dispose due to lower density. The concrete bonnet is the skeleton reuse. Main purpose of the joining for diaphragm wall panel. Okay, this is the first panel, third panel, second panel. This is the main excavation onward, means top end tube, and then medium for the semicircular growth, and then excavation onward. When joining for diaphragm wall panel is the cannot be constructed continually for very long section due to limitation and size of the mechanical plant. The wall is usually constructed in alternative section. Means two steps end tubes will be placed at the end of excavated. Strange before concreting, the tubes are withdrawn at the same time of concreting so that the semicircular and section is formed. Wall section are formed alternatively, leaving the intermediate section in between in section are built similar after but without the end tube. Inside the end continuing diaphragm wall is constructed with the panel section type joined by the semicircular groove. This is the continuous process by diaphragm wall panel. This is the forming guide wall using in the trenches operation. ह्याची आपण व्हिडिओ पाहूयात. Clamshell is the trench for the diaphragm wall. Fixed in place of reinforcement. ओके, मेन आपण हे व्हिडिओ पाहूया जे तुम्हाला कळेल. ओके, डायफ्रागम वॉल.
Topology and excavation options for a diaphragm wall are explained in the following sequences. A shallow guide wall is constructed first along the alignment of the proposed wall. The guide wall serves to locate the excavation equipment within acceptable tolerances before the retaining wall construction commences. The guide wall is made from reinforced concrete, typically 1 to 1.5 metres deep. Walls are constructed to tight verticality tolerance. Excavation of the diaphragm wall is carried out in panels. A typical panel is excavated in 3 bites: a left bite, a right bite, and lastly removal of the middle dumpling. Bite widths depend on the grab type being used, but 2 to 2.8 metres wide is typical. At the same time as the soil is removed from the panel, bentonite mud is pumped into the excavation to support the surrounding soil, preventing collapse into the excavated trench. Excavation continues until the bite reaches the designed depth. Bentonite mud, or in appropriate circumstances polymer, is batched in an on-site plant, allowed to hydrate to gain full gelling properties, and is then used for temporary excavation support. Typically, bentonite powder in bulk or bagged form is added to water and rapidly mixed in a colloidal mixer to produce the desired concentration of bentonite mud. The mud is usually pumped to a storage tank where it hydrates for up to 12 hours. The bentonite particles swell and absorb the water before it's used to support the excavation. When required, the hydrated mud or recycled mud, or a mix of the two, is pumped to the excavation trench to replace the excavated soil, maintaining a constant head of the mud above the prevailing groundwater levels. Excavation of the panel continues, generally completing left and right bites before removing the centre bite. Then the centre bite is excavated down to the required panel toe level. Steel or precast concrete stop ends are placed at the edges of the excavated panel. The stop end may contain a rubber water bar that later becomes embedded into the concrete. The water bar minimises water ingress between panel joints once the earth is excavated inside the diaphragm wall. A prefabricated reinforcement cage is then lowered into the excavation between the stop ends. Blockouts for floor slab connections, ground anchors, or other penetrations can be formed in the reinforcement cage. Concrete is poured into the excavation using the Tremie method. This is achieved by use of a hopper and steel tube extending to the base of the excavation. Typically, 2 hoppers are used for a 6-metre wide panel. The hoppers and tubes are charged with concrete. Then the tubes are lifted off the bottom of the excavation so that the concrete flows out, displacing the lighter bentonite mud upwards. The bentonite is pumped back to the recycling plant as it's displaced. As the concrete level rises in the panel, the Tremie tube lengths are shortened to ensure that fresh concrete is always closest to the concrete bentonite interface. When the concrete rises to the required level, the Tremie pipes are removed and the concrete is allowed to set. The first panel constructed in a run of wall is
Main purpose of the diaphragm walls are underground structural elements, means commonly used as a retention system and permanent foundation wall. They can also use it as groundwater barriers.
called the primary panel. During concreting,
Okay.
the excavation
Primary
grab
panel.
and base crane is moved to another location, a safe distance from the concreted panel, and excavation recommenced on another primary panel. The next excavated panel
Means how is diaphragm wall installed? Means diaphragm walls are constructed under a support fluid, means usually bentonite slurry or plywood, and we excavated using rope clamp shell, means grabs, hydraulic clamp and shell grabs, and hydro mill cutter, or combination of all three. Means the choice of system is dependent on the geology, hydrology, and depth of purpose of wall requirement.
is completed and concreted in the same or running panels. The final panel concreted in a run of wall is termed the closing panel, as this panel closes up the length of wall. The stop end is removed from one panel during excavation of the adjacent panel.
This
Equipment
is main
rock
purpose for the method
into
for
the
the
grab body to provide a high degree of
diaphragm
verticality
wall
control.
installation.
The hydraulic grab This type of grab has hydraulically operated closing jaws, and so is able to exert considerable closing force to excavate dense sands, stiff clay, or weak rock material. These grab bodies can also include steering mechanisms. The cable grab. This grab uses only pulley forces to close the grab jaws, and so is more suited to softer ground. And the Kelly grab. This
Hydraulic
grab
cutter,
type is
hydraulic
rigidly
ram,
suspended from the
cable
race
gram.
machine and vertical
Okay.
millimeters. Factors. Think safe, work safe.
This is meant for diaphragm wall construction. Okay. Using hydraulic phase means reverse circulation trench cutter to form diaphragm wall panel. Means board piles of square section can be installed using the hydro phase or similar drilling techniques. Means bore and hole is stabilized by drilling mud. Means hydro phase is a drilling machine powered by three down the hole motor operating with reverse circulation. Means heavy metal frame serving has guide is fitted has a base with two cutter mean drums carrying tongues means carbide tipped cutter. These rotate in operation direction and break up the soil, and pump is placed just above the drums equator means loose soil which carry up to the surface by drilling mud, and mud with cutting is continuously filter and forward back into the trenches. This is the main for common hydro press equipment, cutting the subsoil ranging of hard work, using hydro pressure revised circle KBC, river corporation. Okay. And the standing equipment bottom carries soil carriage, concrete. Main part for the construction guide means how to construct diaphragm wall means construction of guide wall and excavation of panel and wall concreting. Okay. Construction hydrophase or construction for diaphragm. Main part for the construction forces of diaphragm wall panel. Okay, means guide for the construct diaphragm walls rectangular section in situ under the soil. Means it's under concrete wall. These wall are constructed panel by panel means each interlocked to ensure the stability and water tightness. Means the water diaphragm walls can thickness range 60 centimeter to 15 centimeter with the width, and 2.2 to 3.5 meter with the diaphragm wall की construct to depth of 6 means how to construct diaphragm walls means construct guideline excavation panel and means avoid soil collapse and help mark the panel position and support to reinforcement till. Okay. नेक्स्ट बघूया आपण व्हिडिओ. Main construction, wall construction means diaphragm wall construction and procedure means diaphragm wall construction method. Is diaphragm wall is method of creating a cast in situ reinforced concrete retaining wall using slurry support trench method means is also known as slurry walls. These walls construction process for the provide is a cost-effective solution for permanent retaining wall and shifts will less construction rate. Construction procedure for diaphragm wall. First, guideline and retrenching guideline wall structure panel excavation. Okay. First is the guideline walls construction means the guide walls provide template for wall excavation panel layout support top of trench means restrain and slope service has platform hang reinforcement means reference evaluation for insert supports means remain pipes hold down cage during concrete and provide react for jack out some types of end slopes. Okay, means guide walls are reinforced concrete whose top should at least 4 feet above groundwater table to allow construction in dry condition. Okay, then trenches means pre-trenching in performing to remove shallow and obstructs and provide stable support for guide walls. This perform has open excavation backfill with flow fill excavated under self-hardening slurry. Then excavation and then panel excavation means panel excavation is the special clamshell is also known as a gas bucket and rectangular shape and used to excavate vertical slots are known as panel means digging mechanism may be cable or hydraulic operation means excavation are performed in panel which are in vertical segment means trench stability is mostly provided by fluid weight of beneath and arching action of soil around a trench means beneath slurry is placed in trench added in maintain at least 3 feet above ground water table within 2 feet of the top of guideline. Okay. Reinforcement is the insert form of steel cage and concreting placing of turn avoid the segregation of concrete. Okay, means dreamy concrete is the pipes are placed and panel bottom concrete with 8 to 10-inch slump is the treated into the panel. Main trimming concrete is the three type of the concrete means 8 to 10 trimming pipes are placed in panel at bottom. Concrete 8 to 10 inch slump is then trimmed into panel. Means concrete mix provides 4,600 psi strength with high slump. Means contain fairly high cement content of another pozzolana plaster and chemical. Okay, main application of the diaphragm wall means in area which descent and historic urban infrastructure means where very rigid earth retention system is required. They are used where noise and vibration must be limited and where dewatering is not possible. Means where geology and groundwater circulars use of conventional earth retention system. Okay, means they uh, compared to other wall type, diaphragm walls are stiff with respect to ground movement control. Means diaphragm wall are often attractive in gradual soil with high groundwater table and low permeability layer underlying granular soil. Means diaphragm walls are treatment in underlayer permeability layer, which consist of soil and rocking. Low permeability layer reduce groundwater seepage below. Okay. This is the main type of the diaphragm wall. Okay, diaphragm wall जे आपण पाहिलं होता. लास्ट टाइप आहे ते क्लॅम्प शेड अँड ट्रेंचेस. ओके, ते पण पाहूयात आपण. Clamp shell and trenches. What is mean by clamp shell and trenches? Clamp shell is the main excavation equipment. Excavating the act of digging means equipment and instrumentally needed for undertaking or performing service. Okay. Types of equipment. Power shell आपण बघितलं, stick top wheel केलं, mechanical versus manual मध्ये. Earth moving equipment, power shovel, rigging, hoils, clamp shell and trenching. तोच पार्ट परत एक टॉपिक मध्ये आहे. तो हे लास्टचे 2 पॉइंट आहे ते परत रिपीट झालेला आहे. क्लॅम्प शेल अँड ट्रेंचिंग मशीन्स. ओके, व्हॉट इज क्लॅम्प शेल? क्लॅम्प शेल म्हणजे काय? द शेल ऑफ क्लॅम्प मीन्स बकेट, क्रेन. हे दिस इज क्रेन, हे केबिन आहे, क्रेन आहे आणि हे क्लॅम्प शेल बकेट आहे. तुम्हाला दिसते, तुम्हाला ते फिशच्या टाईप मध्ये दिसतोय. त्याचा आकार तुम्हाला दाखवते त्याचे व्हिडिओ. द शेल ऑफ क्लॅम्प मीन्स बकेट or grape as rigging means having two hanging jaws and excavating machine having clamp shell, either of pair of doors as airplane tails and that open out away from each other. Okay, means clamshell is one piece container consists of two heavy joints by hinges means are which allows the structure to come together to close. Means clamshell can made to be reusable and reclosable or can be sealed securely. Means the name of machine is derived from the shape of its bucket. Means shape of bucket is that of shell hinges at top which can be closed and open into parts. Means selection depends largely on the requirement of job. Okay, then bucket consists of, हा शेप मध्ये असतो. तुम्हाला बकेट हे होस लाईन आहे, शेलवीज ब्रॅकेट आणि हे शेल्स आणि हे हिंग्स आहेत हे लावलेले. ह्याच्या टाइप मध्ये हा पिक दिसतो तसा क्लॅम्प शेल म्हणतो आपण. Clamp shell is one piece container means consists of two hills joined by hinge area which allows the structure to come together to close. Means clamp shell can made to reusable, reclosable or can be security. Okay. Means consist of two shells with hinge at the top and provide with the sharp edges at the bottom. हे असं तुम्हाला खूर sharp edges ला दिसतो हा पिक. ला आपण काय म्हणतो तर clamp shell. Heavy types of bucket with sharp cutting edges are used for hard soil and light bucket with plain edges for loose soil. In clamp shell containers can be made for variety of material in plastic. Used mostly lifting the heavy rock pieces. Means sometimes more to jaws are used for lifting large size quantities. Means plastics such as polystyrene, polyester, PVC foam sheets. The material can made by thermoforming can be injected model into desired shape. Okay, means rather clamshell packing works great for package that need to hold heavy product or item like electronic and their target to the left. Okay, if it use unit must be on level ground. कशासाठी आपण यूज करतो ते बघू. युनिट मस्ट बी लेवल ग्राउंड. बकेट टिप should be sharp. Dumping distance is equal to digging distance. In soft soil, it should be removed. Okay. Then output production of clamshell. Means production is capital meter cube into C into F. Means C is equal to, where C is equal to cycles per hour, F is equal to correction factor. When clamshell is a bucket with two hinged jaws carried by cranes suspended from the boom pipe two line. Means factor affecting the output means height of lift, angle of swing, method of disposing, operation of skill. In application, used for loose material such as crushed stones. Main function is to vertical lifting of material from one place to another. Means digging and dumping in a vertical plane and accurate dumping. Charging and removing the material from stock pile, coffer dam, etc. Okay, means clamshell. Main purpose for the clamshell is the two hinge jaws carried by crane suspended from the booms by two line. Means one raises hand over the bucket and the other pulls the jaw together against gravity for digging action. Used deep narrow excavation. Main uses of clamshell means applications of clamshells are most popular in the food packing and industry. Mean they are used for packing items such as sandwich, pieces, cookies, and burgers, rib, frozen lobster tails. Various other type of food production you can find clamshell in many different container settings. Okay. Then type of the last point, last chapter for trenches, trenching equipment. Okay. क्लॅमशेलचे आपण एक व्हिडिओ बघूया आपण नंतर ट्रेंचिंगचं बघूया. क्लॅमशेल ओके प्रोसेस बघूया क्लॅमशेलचा. आता क्लॅमशेल झालं की लास्ट पॉइंट आहे ट्रेंचिंग मशीन, ट्रेंचिंग इक्विपमेंट. आपला लास्ट टॉपिक लास्ट पॉइंट संपतोय. बघा कसं आहे तो मशीन क्लॅमशेल यूज आहे, कशा प्रकारे क्लॅमशेल यूज करतो. बघा क्लॅमशेल दोन म्हणजे असतात, जॉईंट असतात. तीन सारखं आहे बघा. त्याचे मशीन कशी आहे बघा, कशासाठी कसं लोड करतो मटेरियल बघा. त्याला आपण काय म्हणतो, क्लॅमशेल बकेट. Okay. What is trenching machine? Trenching machine म्हणजे काय? 6 टॉपिक मध्ये आपण बघितलंय. A trencher is a piece of construction equipment used to dig trenches, means especially for laying pipes or electrical cables, for installing digging or preparation of for trench warfare. Trenches may range in size for a walk behind model to attachment for skid loader and a tractor to very heavy heavy equipment. Okay, this is the wheel trenches in trenches for the different sizes and cables, and for excavating all type of soil expected rocks and mostly gravel mountain. Okay, application: excavating trenches for water, oil, gas, pipe, sewer, and telephone cable. Dipping for excavating drainage, use where control on depth and width is required, and fast digging and reduce the cost of and finishing. Okay, main types of trenches: wheel type. Types of trenching machine: wheel type means consist of power driven wheel mounted with number of removal bucket with teeth, means they can cut ranges of width up to 30 to 150 centimeter, maximum cutting of the depth 2.5 to 3 meter, have greater digging speed. For narrow trenching from soil, this type is suitable, means trencher come in different size and may use digging implements depending out upon the required width and depth of trench and the hardness of the surface to be cut. Means wheel type trencher or rock wheel is composed of tooth metal wheel, means tooth metal wheel it cheaper to operate and maintain. The chain type trencher means दिसतंय तुम्हाला chain type it can work in hard or soft soil, either homogeneous, means they can use cut range of width up to 30 to 150 centimeter. It can work in hard or soil, either means compact rock. Then they particularly true because cutting wheel works by clearing the soil. Wheels does rather than like chain trencher, means consist will present of block and soil, means it they can also pavement for road maintenance and actually under road. Okay, means due to design, the wheel may reach a variable cutting depth with same tool, and it can be constant soil working. They can small wheel diameter and which reduce weight and therefore pressure to the ground and height of the unit for transport. Okay, next ladder type. Ladder type trencher. Ladder type consists of two type. Sorry, network issue. Ladder type is consist of two endless chain which travel along the boom and the bucket equipment with teeth are attached. Sometimes side cutter or trenches increase width of the trench, means conveyor belt is for the excavated soil on the either side, means maximum cutting width up to 360 centimeters. Means the maximum cutting depth 9 to 10 meter and digging speed in is 30 meter or more. Means vertical boom type and modifier of ladder type, means trenching width range from 40 to 70 centimeter. Means ladder type trenching machine is the trenching machine, also called as detached or digging wheel excavation machine, means employ a wheel fitted rim bucket with boom or ladder on which endless chain of bucket or scraper revolves, means as machine moves forward to rotate ladder or wheel so that the bucket dig at their forward edge. In different trenches, there are two type of the wheel and chain trencher. Okay. Point taken can carry C type, means type of soil obstruction, depth and width of trench, right of way disposal, for topography of area. Okay, for example of the trenching machine. Okay, determine the cost of production in terms of rupees meter cube means excavation equipment who is 1.5. लास्ट टाइम पण मी घेतलेला हा एक्झाम्पल. ओके, असं तुम्हाला विचारू शकतात एक्झामला. ओके, आयडियल अवर्स म्हणजे तो नंबर ऑफ सायकल मीन्स टोटल टाइम डिवाइड बाय time required for one cycle. Okay, ideal hour output and the cost. Then main part for the types of the trencher means trenching machine is the piece of construction equipment used to dig trenches, especially for laying pipes and electric cables for installing the drag line or preparation of trench wear. Okay, त्याचा आपण शॉर्ट व्हिडिओ पाहूया आता जे आपल्या लक्षात येईल. ओके, लास्ट व्हिडिओ आहे ट्रेंचिंग मशीनचा. हे बघा, ट्रेंचिंग इन सेकंड. How to work for the trenching machine. Means how to trench operates means digging or trenching equipment. This is mean trenching equipment operates can operate variety of equipment used in installation, repairing and maintenance activity. Okay, associate with ground underground utilization safe and effective manner. But keeping low and dry away from trench. And here some other important guidelines for the trenching. Means spade or digging shovel can use for first foot of trench depth, but deeper trench is special and trenched tool shovel for appropriate for trenching machine. बघा कसं करतो ट्रेंचिंग, पुश कसं करतोय त्याला. चेननी त्याला पुल करतोय. पुल द चेन ट्रेंच फॉर चेन, कंट्रोल द ट्रेंच पोझिशन टू ऍक्टिव्ह डिग चेन. Means deep trenching machine is for most important for trenching machine. A chain main for part for the chain. दिसते तुम्हाला चेनचा. Chain trencher cuts with digging chain for belt that is driven around the rounder metal frame or boom. Means it reasonable gains chain. So the type of trencher cut ground that too hard to cut with bucket type excavated and can also narrow with deep trencher. Okay, for example what trencher. Main for trenching machine, the important for types and there are different types for trenching machines. Okay. Okay. Finally, a trencher is piece of construction equipment used to dig trenches. This is especially for laying pipes for electrical cable, for installing digging or preparation for trench wear. Trenches may range in size for walk behind model or attachment for skid loader tractor or very heavy tractor equipment. Okay. main uses. What are the trenching machine used for trenchers? Means trenchers are pieces of earth moving equipment, right? They use a metal chain and teeth made of high strength and strength steel or to rip into the ground like chainsaw wood into trees, means similar to an excavator or trench rip so up to the soil and any roots in the way to create trench. Okay. Trencher म्हणजे काय? On the dig trencher basically uses self-propelled excavation machine. Okay. Typically employ a bucket conveyor used to dig trenches, especially pipeline and cable. Okay. What equipment is question विचारलं गेलं used for trenching? There are 4 type of hand tools used for trenching. They are the sharpshooter shovel or drainage spade, means couple different type of trenching shovel, and no bottom digging clean out shop, means the serpent trench machine. Okay, how do you use for the trench machine? Okay, low drive away from the trenches. Okay. Any doubt, any question, please ask me. Okay. कोणाला काही शंका असेल तर प्लीज विचारा. आपला लास्ट टॉपिक झालेला आहे स्पेशल कन्स्ट्रक्शन. त्यामध्ये आपण काय बघितलं? फ्लोटिंग इक्विपमेंट, डिगिंग इक्विपमेंट, डायफ्रागम वॉल, पर्पज, कन्स्ट्रक्शन टाइप, कन्स्ट्रक्शन मेथड, क्लॅमशेल अँड ट्रेंचेस. ओके, हा रिपीट 6 टॉपिक मला तोच पॉइंट आता आलाय. ह्यात फक्त डायफ्रागम अँड डिगिंग ऍड आहे, बाकीचं सेम तोच आहे पॉइंट. ओके, काही डाऊट असेल तर प्लीज विचारा. 1 to 8 topic. First section management related project management. Second section construction practice. Okay. खूप इझी टॉपिक आहे. काय डिफिकल्ट असेल तर पर्सनली विचारा. क्वेश्चन असेल तर विचारा. ओके, सगळ्यांनी प्लीज असाइनमेंट सॉल्व्ह करा.